drum solo. Welcome into MJT Internet. It's Saturday. We're going to pretend like it's Friday, like we didn't miss a show. We wanted to be here, but we couldn't. Mike was at training camp, and me and Joe were, being fathers, being good husbands, living lives. We didn't make it, but we're excited. We're talking training camp stuff. We're talking Purdy, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert injury. People are freaking out. We're gonna talk about that. I feel really good. Harbaugh in Canton. Patrick Willis being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So much football and stuff to be talked about. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm freaking out, man. I'm freaking out. Is that how the Charger fans are right now? I'm doing good. I wanted to go to training camp with Mike yesterday and actually set my alarm and got everything. But you know what I was thinking? I was like, if Cowboy fans aren't showing up, why the fuck would I show up? Why am I going to go support a team that has no future and go over there with Mike? I mean, just look at Mike's video. There's no Cowboy fans to be. I think we talked about this early in the offseason. We were like, it's kind of quiet. There's no Cowboy fans out there being annoying, telling us this is their year. And then more and more the offseason has gone on, the more and more we've been proven right that the Cowboy fans are hidden. They're gone. Bye-bye Cowboy fans. It's only a matter of time until we see them like picking up new jerseys or stuff like that. I mean, damn, Tony, I thought Niner fans were the only ones that did this kind of crap, but prove me wrong.
Mike, I think there's a chance that the Cowboys fans might be converting over, and I'm cool with it. Like, most Chargers fans are like, hey, we don't want no bandwagons. Like, this is the fan base. We're locked in. If y'all don't have kids, we ain't growing. That's not the way I am at all. Bring all the bandwagons over. I love it. I want to fill up SoFi Stadium with Chargers or Cowboys fans. Doesn't matter as long as they're wearing Chargers gear.
Yeah, I agree. What was the vibe overall, though, when you were at camp? The fans, like, was there excitement going on? I saw a lot of people on the fence line. Again, the crowd, like, in the stands, very sparse compared to the videos you got last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part that stood out the most to me was the energy there, even from the players on the field. Like, me and Joe left that training camp like, damn, these guys are at each other's throat. The competition is at as high a level as we've seen at any of the training camps that we had been to that year with the Rams and the Chargers. Joe had even been to the Raiders at that point. And we're like, this team looks like possibly an NFC contender leaving camp. And you can feel the excitement amongst the fans and the players for that, but it just felt dead. I feel like everyone was going through the motions. Mike McCarthy, I don't know what just happened there. Mike McCarthy wasn't on the field. You know how they have like that box there, like at the top where the guys sit there? He was up there on the mic the whole time. Like not interacting with the players, nothing, just like up there. Micah Parsons was dressed. I swear I saw him take 2 reps the whole practice. Zeke Elliott was dressed. I saw him take like 3 reps the whole practice. He made a crazy catch up the sideline, by the way. I didn't know Zeke could even catch like that. But like these guys aren't like eager to take their reps. They aren't fighting for balls on this a jump ball up in the air. Like it feels like other than the secondary and like a receiver or 2 there, it's dead, man. And I am very worried about the Cowboys this season, and that did not help. Also, Dak looked good. He didn't make any crazy mistakes, but Trey Lance is not. He's not. And I don't know if it's ever going to happen at this point.
Breaking news.
Gotta love the head coach from the top. Run it again. Run it again.
So he's literally just up there like, 4th and 9, gotta have it. All right, let's go. And then like they line up and they do it. And like whoever the assistant coaches are on the field are running it all. But it's just like you'd think that the head coach would want to be involved. And I remember specifically last year he was very involved. He was there on the sideline.
So here's the funny thing is that they're all doing their own interpretation of all in, right? Like CeeDee Lamb's like, yeah, I'm all in Houston training. Dak Prescott's like, I'm all in perhaps depending on if the money's right, but I'm okay with going somewhere else. Like Jerry Jones, the comments that Jerry Jones had this week to me were extremely insightful from the aspect when he was saying like, Jerry's saying, I am all in. I've been all in. I've given Dak everything he needs to succeed. I've given this coach everything he needs to succeed. I've done my part. I've surrounded you with a great team, and you guys let me down, and now you guys are all going to play with your backs against the wall, except for perhaps CeeDee Lamb. Micah did say a couple of things, I think, contract-wise that were interesting. I forgot to pull those quotes. And then also Micah did have a comment where he's talking about the relationship building with Zimmer, and he thinks that he's going to be used in even more ways to make him more dynamic than he was in the previous defense. I have a hard time believing that he'll be able to be more dynamic than he's been. I mean, if he can take it to another level, we're talking, like he's already on a Hall of Fame track, but we're talking like all-time great if he can take that shit to another
level.
Yeah, a whole nother level.
He's going to take it to a whole level with the Philadelphia Eagles, Tony. That's probably what's going to happen. Or another team.
I would love that. To me, it's just hilarious to talk to a Cowboys fan and to see how discouraged they are. We had some friends over last week, and I was just like, so what about the Cowboys? Like, I do not want to talk about the Cowboys at all. I don't have nothing good to say. He's like, I don't understand why we're not paying CD. I don't understand why we think we can move on from Dak Prescott. Like, he just doesn't understand what's going on. He's extremely frustrated. I think he's gone to like 1 or 2 games every year for like the last decade. And he's like, I haven't even looked at getting tickets because I just don't feel any inspiration.
Picture this, Tony. Close your eyes. Picture this. A great option quarterback, right? And he's running towards the sideline.
Like Patty Mahomes.
Waiting for that last one. Sometimes he has to get all the way to that damn sideline right before he pitches the ball. But he's going to pitch that ball.
Joe, he's just like Patrick Mahomes, who never runs the read option. Just like him. But that was 2 more things that I saw. One on Micah was I didn't put a video up. Kind of regretted it afterwards because like I'm the first to speculate when it comes to speculating. I'm not the guy to go, let's not speculate. I'm the guy to go, let's speculate. Micah Parsons spent the first half of practice running gassers back and forth. I don't know if he's conditioning or I don't know if he's in trouble. I don't know which one it was. I'm sure the team's never going to say what it was. And I think that is whatever was going on with that, whether he's, banged up and he's just taking a light day and he just still wanted to get some conditioning in, or he got in trouble and he had to run because of it and sit the rest of the practice out. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. That seems from history like a Zimmer thing to do, but not a Micah thing to be pleased by.
So people who've been around the team a lot, and when I say that, I mean reporters like last year and this year, noticed that Micah's down. And I read something that he's down 12 pounds. And he was already small for edge rusher. It's like if you're going to be taking on tackles, you need to have some size on you. If you look at you go around to the Max Crosbys and Myles Garrett, Bosa, Mack, like these guys they're big enough to be able to hang with these left tackles. You can't be down around 235, 240. Although we'd all love to be that jacked at 240. That'd be amazing.
Now I'll give you guys credit. Everything that I've seen from Charger camp this year, it seems like there's a little bit more buzz and actually people are actually showing up. So finally, LA is embracing it. Maybe it's the new facility, maybe it's the new head coach, but it actually looks like there's actually people willing to come out and say that they're actually Charger fans now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because every day, Joe, even on the Thursday I went and the Friday, so even the weekdays, it looked like Cowboys camp at Chargers camp. Everyone was cramming in there. There was a long-ass line. And even the day I went with Tony, we got there kind of late. And it was full. It was full. Yeah. So
Rams camp has been down this year. There's not a lot of Rams fans showing up this year. So maybe they all converted over.
Who's got it better than us?
Maybe it's a new location.
Nobody.
Nobody's got it better than us, Joe. One more thing on Cowboys camp. Final thing. Without CD, which I'm sure they're going to get a deal done. They have to get a deal done, right? But without him, I don't know how they're going to make this passing game work at all. They were getting shut down by the third-string corners, by the second-string corners, and the first-string corners. Mind you, no Trevon Diggs. I think they're down a safety as well right now. Like, the secondary is really thin and a bunch of no-names that no one knows, except for, like, Bland. And they're locking down / these receivers are just flat out dropping passes when they do get open.
Yeah. I like this one. I actually like this comment right here, Tony. Can we answer it right now?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I want to thank Sean here for popping in. Appreciate you talking. Let's talk a little Bo Nix for a second since we got Sean in here. Joe, you want to go first?
No, I actually think he said it correctly. It's no Nix because Nix ain't gonna do nothing this year.
Why? Come on, we got somebody here who wants to talk football with us. Sean, I'm gonna say this. I think Bo Nix landed in the perfect spot to be successful. And I think within a couple of years, the Broncos are actually going to be a really competitive football team. It's just what Sean Payton does. I do think getting Troy Franklin there is going to help out with the transition a little bit of becoming an NFL quarterback, having built-in timing there as soon as they can sort of get on the same page. And I think Cortland Sutton's an underrated wide receiver. So I tend to, and tight end, Dulcich. So they've got some weapons, good backfield. I think he's in a spot where Sean Payton's going to allow him to succeed. He wasn't my favorite quarterback of the draft, but I do think the Broncos are headed in the right direction with Bo Nix, Joe. Bo.
No Nix, come on, Tony.
You know how we don't. We're AFC West opponents. We do, like you guys like the Chargers. I like the Raiders. But I do want to see Tim Patrick bounce back this year. That'd be kind of cool to see him finally have a good year. But Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham fighting it out for the number one spot. You would think that it would favor the rookie, right? I mean, if they're neck to neck, you would want to get the guy the most experience with to be the rookie. But then they bring in Zach Wilson, who's sitting at third string right now. That's kind of crazy to me. But I don't want to hate on Bo Nix because I like Bo Nix. The whole draft process, I like them. I'm an Oregon fan, and I hope he does well. The 2 games when he plays the Raiders, I hope he throws like 6 interceptions.
Oh, yeah. When he plays the Chargers, I hope he is awful. I don't have a problem cheering for players on other teams, even if they're in the division. Like when we get to the top 10 conversation where Max Crosby's ranked at, I've got nice things to say about. I like Max Crosby.
But I think you hit it correctly. Like Sean Payton got a quarterback that he actually believes in. Like, and I think he fell in love with him during the draft process, knowing that the other quarterbacks were going to go higher, that this would be the guy that he would fall for. And it's not like Bo Nix doesn't have experience. He has more snaps in college than Justin Herbert has in the NFL. So, like, experience can go a long way playing with people. So, we'll see if that pays off.
And awesome. He's Herbert's understudy. Herbert's understudy right there.
Yeah, another number 10.
I agree with a lot of the points you guys are making about Bo Nix. I have a hard time, and I'm glad it's the Broncos that did it, cheering drafting QB6 at 12 ever. I was a little shy at drafting QB3 in like the top 7 when they drafted Herbert. So, because I thought it was going to be Tua. I didn't know it was going to be Herbert. But it's you guys are right. There is a lot of positives going Bo Nix's way there. If these scouts are right, the NFL teams are right, and he's QB6 of that class, I think that would be a bust, though, to take him at 12 still.
Yeah. I've said this many, many years in a row. If you are a quarterback coming into the league, there's a handful of spots every year, like 6 to 8 spots where you'd like to end up, right? Anthony Richardson ended up in one of those spots with Shane Steichen. I think there's going to be great things for him. You know, like Brock Purdy being Mr. Irrelevant, ending up in a spot where Kyle Shanahan was winning games with CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins and Jimmy Garoppolo. It's like you can end up in a spot where your career can be better than other people who are drafted in there because of where you land, where you end up. And it's why I think a guy like Sam Darnold can have a really strong year in Minnesota because I like Kevin O'Connell. I like what he does with the offense, how his ability to make things not simple, but like just give them really great opportunities with their skill set to maximize it. Like look at what he did when he was with Herbert his rookie year and Hurts in Philadelphia. That's Shane Steichen. I mean, not Kevin O'Connell, but Kevin O'Connell did that last year with Dobbs, and Jaron Hall even had a nice drive before he got concussed and was knocked out of the game. So it's there. People are trying to derail the show here. Harrison, I almost don't want to answer your Colts question because you're talking shit about Quentin Johnston. Leave Quentin alone. Let him progress.
We could talk about him. We're about to talk about Chargers training camp anyways next, right? So we can talk about it. But let's just get this out of the way right away for Harrison. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I do too. Right now,
Texans Colts are in that division. I think the Titans are sneaky. They got a little bit less standing power. I think late in the season, we'll see what that team looks like by then. But I think the Colts and the Texans are built to win this division this year and compete for it.
It's all about who stays healthy, though. If Richardson goes down again, then they have no shot.
Oh,
so I feel like there's a lot more room for them to lose guys other than the quarterback in Indy than in Tennessee. I think.
See, I was going to bring this up. There's
Jaguars-
two rookie quarterbacks getting killed right now, and this is one of them. Go ahead, Mike. You want to talk about the Jaguars real quick? Go ahead.
The Jaguars are not important.
Like there's two rookie quarterbacks getting killed on social media right now, and it's J.J. McCarthy and it's Drake May. Like, people are actually saying that Drake May is going to lose the job to Milton because his arm strength is so great. Like, arm strength doesn't make you a number one quarterback. And J.J. McCarthy is struggling, and we knew J.J. McCarthy was the youngest quarterback in this draft, and he went to the right spot where they knew that they were going to take their time with them and develop him into it. And I've seen some excellent throws from him but most of the clips that they're going to put out are negative clips because I don't know why reporters get off on that. Like, if I'm trying to make fun of somebody, yes, but people are legitimately putting these out going, look at this. This is what's going on at practice today. Like, you're covering the team and you're putting shit out about them. If I was a team, like, I would be trying to get you out of not giving you a press pass anymore if you're putting negative shit out about my quarterbacks and my young guys.
But I think like they understand that it's all part of feeding the monster that is the entertainment of the NFL, right? They get it. And when you're inside the building, you're a player, you're in the coaching staff and whatever, is like, if you can keep these players focused on the field and in the meeting rooms and stuff like that, you're going to be fine, because all of these guys are growing up in this generation. You think J.J. McCarthy has never heard comments like this before, or that his arm or this or that or whatever it is? I have full confidence in J.J. I think he ended up in the best spot of all of the quarterbacks in this draft because of Kevin O'Connell, because they're getting Justin Jefferson in the prime of his career. When he does hit his stride, he's going to get 4 to 5 years of top-notch Justin Jefferson. Potentially, maybe they can keep Jordan Addison around too. So, like, yeah, Sam Darnold should win the job. He should start the season. And at some point, if the Vikings season is teetering or not going the way they want, honestly, I think the Vikings can play this whole year with Sam Darnold, and we don't see anything from J.J. McCarthy, and that's fine. And this idea that he was carried by the run game, just go watch the Alabama game. Like, the dude was slinging the ball down to go take the lead, throwing dimes to Roman Wilson. Like, I think that J.J. McCarthy is very capable of playing quarterback in the NFL. I'm not biased at all, a little bit, about J.J. McCarthy.
No,
yeah, I think that the thing that J.J. McCarthy has that stood out to me when I watch a lot of his stuff, like you're saying, Joe, it's nothing crazy. Like, he's not this super fast, athletic guy. He's not super big. He doesn't have crazy arm strength. Just one of those guys. He's just a gamer. And like you're saying, Tony, you put that with O'Connell and Justin Jefferson, it's going to work eventually. It's going to work. Yeah. It's just a matter of being patient about it. Everyone's staying healthy and continuing to take steps towards it. I think the Vikings understand, like, we're going to have to now reset here if we want to push ourselves back into the division picture and into the NFC picture again like we were maybe 2 years ago.
Well, so I really like what the Quessy has done there, the GM, because if you look at it, it's like Danielle Hunter's the more accomplished edge rusher and the better player probably, but he's later in his career. So they swap with the Texans DN and bring in Grenard, and you have a situation where it's like, hey, we're still going to get high-level production out of the edge rusher, but we're going to have somebody where we're paying them a significant amount of money that's headed into the prime of their career. So I really like what they've done to the defense, the players that they've brought in there. I think with Brian Flores, they're probably going to be able to keep him around. I don't think he'll get a coaching job next year either, because you're going to be competing with Vrabel. You're going to be competing with Belichick. So unless the Vikings defense is like top 8 or something like that, then these owners are probably saying like, hey, we're not going to forget that you tried to sue us a couple of years ago. We're not going to keep you out of the league because we don't want to give credence to the lawsuit, but we are also probably not going to allow you to come and take over one of our franchises here.
I can't confirm here. Mavi T12, one of my best friends, was at training camp today. So this is a live report. He is a Broncos fan, though. So I'm going to report that.
This would have been the perfect clip to play that clip that Bo Nix threw it short and got picked off the other day.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. Also, I heard Sean Payton does not let the fans take their phones in to camp. So like he couldn't take any videos for us. I was asking him to get a few. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, good for Sean Payton. No need to. It's like it's good enough to just go there. I didn't take any videos this year of anything going on at camp. I was also really bummed because I was like on my way, and they're like, Justin Herbert injury, which we're gonna get to right after I say this. Brock Purdy was throwing some interceptions, and we're gonna talk about that later. But the big takeaway there, overall, is in training camp and in practice, and as fans, we need to grasp this a little bit better. They're trying things that they would not try in games. They're trying to make throws, make plays, do different things that they would not be doing in a game. Like, I think we should have learned this by now. We did this last year. CJ Stroud comes out and throws like a pick six in the first game, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, the S2 test was so right. This guy's a, whatever. And then by the midway of the season, everybody's like, I can't believe that the Panthers drafted whatever. Fans are just so emotional by nature. We're fanatical, but we also, at some point, just slow down a little bit. Let's let this shit play out and enjoy it.
It's practice. You're right, Tony. That's something that we can talk about with Chargers camp. Like the only thing that really bothered me is like a QB being conservative and going to a check down when you're already the third or fourth string quarterback. Like throw it up, give the DB and the receiver a rep to go at it. You know what I mean? Give them a chance. And
your defense should be ahead of your offense at this time. Sure. Like it always takes a while for your offense to catch up, and you're not scheming, you're not doing any of that stuff. So I understand. Like I'm dealing with it with Raider fans right now that everybody's freaking out over interceptions being thrown at camp and stuff like that. But come on, these young guys are learning, and this is what training camp is for: is to make the mistakes right here and to get this out at practice.
Yeah. Exactly. And what Sean is saying here, and I think can kind of be true and kind of not be true. It's irrelevant in the sense that we shouldn't be taking these clips and thinking that we can make a record prediction off of it. Yes. But it's very relevant to these guys that they're out there and they're working and that they're healthy. So it's very relevant to the team. This might be the most important time for the team. But for us as fans, we should just enjoy the clips we get and not really take a ton of stock into them unless you're a TikToker that's trying to get viral videos and trying to get, trigger people and shit. Maybe
if you're trying
unless Aaron Rodgers making a mistake, I don't care.
Yeah, right. Aaron Rodgers is the only thing. Aaron Rodgers.
Then I'm going to blow that video up. If Aaron Rodgers throws like 5 interceptions, then
he misses one practice in his 20-year career, it's over. The whole season is tanked. And then Mavi 12 here saying PS2 was in coverage, so at least it was going against their best.
Yeah, it's again in these things. It's like when he's saying that it's irrelevant. I think that it's irrelevant, like Mike is saying, for us to make grand assumptions on, right? But it's not irrelevant for even like, let's say Troy Franklin is getting reps against Pat Surtain in practice. If he has a big moment there, like that's a confidence builder. You want that going into the season. You want him lining up, in a week where it's like, hey, I beat Pat Surtain. Now all of a sudden it's like I'm going up against Asante Samuel in a divisional game, and I know I've already beaten somebody that we all think is a higher caliber athlete than him. I know that I can just trust my process and things are going to work out. So like it's about just building the momentum towards the shit that's going to matter. Like, and do you think that they're letting us really see stuff? Like when we were at Chargers practice the other day, people are like, oh, we shouldn't put that on there because we don't want the rest of the league to see it. That's like a conversation I was hearing in the stands from people. It's like, do you think that that other people aren't going to put that out there? Like, you're not going to be the only one. Like, everybody knows that they're trying out Jordan McFadden at fullback for these, like, jumbo packages with the Chargers. Watch anything Harbaugh's done over the last 20 years of his career. It's 3 tight end sets all the time.
How many people do you think know he's throwing screen passes to him, though?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, NFL Network is covering camp.
I understand, but like, I don't need to put it out to my 200,000 followers that Jim Harbaugh's about to throw a screen pass to a tackle.
I don't even know why you're putting yourself on blast. I didn't call you. I said I heard it from several people.
I know who you're fucking talking about because I was there.
You are one of the people who I heard having this conversation. But the people in front of me were like, oh, Quentin Johnston dropped the ball. We shouldn't put this on the internet. It's like somebody in this crowd of these 5,000 people here are going to put this on the internet because they also want the attention that comes with it. That's just that's the world we live in.
Wait, Quentin Johnson dropped the football?
I shat on our really, 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 really good backup quarterbacks.
What, are you turning into that Raiders fan, Joe, who likes to correct people's grammar? Come on, you're better than that.
No. I said I didn't know that he dropped balls. Like I thought number 1 draft pick. Going in there.
We're transitioning. Tony. That's crazy because I posted a video about how bad the backup quarterbacks are. Tony, why were the backup quarterbacks in?
Oh, I thought you were going to play a video. My bad. Justin Herbert, diagnosed with plantar fascia, the foot injury, out 2 weeks or whatever, walking boot, gradual, hopefully they're ready for week 1. I'm not a doctor. We're not going into that side of it. But, I think that if, as fans, all we can do is hope, and especially under the new administration, right? When I was going on Twitter, the panic that was there was just holy shit, what's happening? Yes, we don't want to start the season with Easton Stick. That's not what we've been waiting months and months and months for to be seeing. We saw Easton Stick play against the Raiders last year. It was 63-21. It was a freaking nightmare. I went and watched the game in public in a bright fluorescent powder blue Chargers hoodie, and people were walking by, I can't even make eye contact with this guy. What is he doing? Hat on, Chargers hat on. I was ready to go, and it was just they were being kind to me overall. I saw a lot of Raiders fans chuckling at me, but we have to just hope that he's going to be on the field. That's the only thing we can do. All of this constant negativity, we should tank for the number 1 pick, or we should do this or do that. It's let's just hope that the foot heals enough. It's manageable. They can treat it and it'll go away. That's the only thing we have right now.
I will say one thing, Tony. If anything, I don't know for sure. I think the Chargers personally have the toughest quarterback in the league right now. That dude played through cracked ribs. I've never cracked my ribs. I don't understand what that pain feels like. But from anyone that I know that has even had bruised ribs, say that shit is some of the most painful injury you could possibly have. And he's out there playing football on it where he didn't practice the entire week. If this gets bad enough that Herbert can't walk, then I'll worry that he's going to sit out. But until then, I think he's going to be out there. I think that if he had to play a game the day after it got diagnosed, he would have been out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to gauge toughness, but I think Matthew Stafford's another one of those guys that's incredibly gamer tough. I think Patrick Mahomes, as much as I hate to say it, we saw this guy running for first downs, ankle spatted up all the way to his kneecap. Essentially, he was in a soft cast in one of those games. I do think that all of these positions we're seeing, and that was one of the great things about the QB documentary on Netflix the year before, was we saw up close and personal what Kirk Cousins went through. And we all were dude, Kirk Cousins, he's a lot tougher than we thought that he was previously before we see it. And you get to see what these guys go through for a ton of money, but also for our entertainment, also for their egos, also for many things. We could go on and on. To wrap up Chargers training camp, there's a Ladd McConkey comment here from Sean. I liked everything I've seen from him so far in the video. He was not practicing the day that we were there. I was a little bummed. My wife needs a new favorite player because she was a huge fan of Austin Eckler, gone. Second favorite offensive player, Mike Dubb, gone. So she needs a new favorite offensive player. She really liked J.K. Dobbins because he was out there. He was impressing. There's Joe. Bring it up. One of the worst memories in Charger history.
Here's what I'm going to say. NFL football players get a lot of medical that we don't. They get introduced to a lot of best medical staff that we don't, right? I've had plantar fasciitis or whatever, and I didn't even know what the hell it was until Darren McFadden had it when he was on the Raiders a long time ago. It's an injury that is a pain tolerance injury. Let's just say that. It's never going to go away. It takes a long time to heal. And you could walk on it, and some days you have good days, some days you have bad days. But with the medication that these guys have, you've seen it in some of these videos that they're showing now, hey, take this shot, and in 30 seconds we'll know if you're going to be able to play or not. I don't know. I don't think like Mike said, Justin Herbert played with broken ribs and one arm and stuff like that. These guys want to be on the field. He's going to do whatever he has to take to get on the field. And for the love of God, we can't go through Easton Stick. Even as a Raider fan, I don't want to go to SoFi Stadium week 1 and see Easton Stick. Like I don't want to do that again. I can't do it.
Herbert was playing last year. His finger was dangling like Baldinger. He had like Baldy finger in like half the season.
But Chase Daniels did come out and say that he thinks this injury is worse than what the Chargers are saying, just because how he knows Justin Herbert in the past with the organization.
The Chargers aren't saying anything, so it's obviously like even being injured is worse than what the Chargers say. They asked Harbaugh about it, and he's like, "Yeah, he's going through something. He's working through an injury, working through something."
Harbaugh,
you don't even call it an injury.
Mike Harbaugh is being annoying with the injury reports, and he's going to be like that all year. He actually said, I'm not a doctor. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to read what it says right here. So it says NFL Mike, knee injury, Tony, heart injury, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to give anything more than he needs to. And that's how coaches should be. Like,
wait, go back. Why'd you give Tony like the Widowmaker? You're like, Mike, knee injury, Tony, heart injury. What?
Yeah, no shit.
Tony's always hurting. Like he's from Michigan. He wanted to see Michigan win, and it's hard. You know, it's hurting him.
The old man has an arrhythmia. Thank you for that.
Mike, stub toe. Tony, heart attack.
Tony, congestive heart failure because he eats too many smash burgers. Thanks a lot, Joe. Thanks for putting my business in the streets.
Let's go back to the wide receiver talk real quick, though, Tony, because I want to know.
Real quick, Mike, time out. We got some people in here watching. If you could hit the like button, that'd help us out. We'd really appreciate that. Mike, you go on, do your thing. Yeah,
I put it in the chat too, guys. Helps out.
Oh, there you go.
That like button, and it just makes me feel good. So appreciate you guys do that. I was going to say about the receiver. That's been the biggest topic on the Chargers all offseason, the receiver worries. I went to 3 days of camp, and I left completely feeling comfortable with the weapons the Chargers are heading into this season with. I think Ladd McConkey is going to grow into his role even more and more, and he's going to get a lot of work out of the slot. But with DJ Chark and what he's doing, and Josh Palmer out wide, and a lot of the offense is going to be a lot of 2 wide receiver sets anyways. Those 2 guys, they're going to put in work. They're going to put in work. And then you got QJ to throw in there, Ladd coming in. You got even to go deeper. Jerry Rice's kid is working and putting in work at camp. We got a bunch of depth in this receiving core. And I don't think that it's as big a problem as everyone's thinking. I think that, yes, the Chargers lack that elite weapon that everyone wants to have, but they make up for it in a scatter of skill sets.
So, real quick, Harbaugh's offenses never have elite wide receivers, and they're just fine everywhere. Like Stanford, I think it was like Doug Baldwin or something. San Francisco was Michael Crabtree, very good NFL wide receiver. I wouldn't say he was elite at any point in his career. Michigan, like he had Nico Collins, who's proving to be quite a nice receiver. I think Roman Wilson has been nice. Ronnie Bell is on San Francisco. He's good. Like they have Cornelius Johnson on the Chargers. Is a player that I think is underrated. That they like. You got to be able to block, and you got to be able to catch the deep ball because there's going to be a lot of play action shots and opportunities. Tight ends, huge part of the offense. That's why I'm excited. Like I really think that somebody like Will Dissly could have like a career year. Now that's not saying much because he's not been a huge factor in passing games before, but I think Will Dissly could have one of those. You know, him or Hayden Hurst could have one of those years where they end up with 650 yards and 55, 60 catches because the tight end's going to be featured.
And as Charger fans,
you go even in the chart just like one step further, Tony. It's like our starting tight ends from last year, other than Gerald Everett, are now the backup tight ends. So it's like this is starting to shape out to be a loaded one. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
But as Charger fans, you had the hope, right? Staley's out. You got the new coach coming in, Harbaugh, coming in here after winning a national championship. Things are going to be different. People showing up to training camp, and the same shit is happening. Injury report is killing you again. You're staring at the injury report going, damn it. If only our guys could stay healthy, we could win. Like you're already questioning the season going in with an injured Justin Herbert.
Because our QB got a minor injury to his foot that they're being safe with.
Yeah, and I
worry about the entire injury report. The Chargers are doomed.
I sent a picture in a Chargers chat that I'm in where Justin Herbert is essentially dunking a football, celebrating a touchdown celebration on the same foot that was later diagnosed with the fasciitis thing here. Like, the guy was still out there playing football. It wasn't like it happened on the last play of practice or whatever. Like, he was out there, went through the whole practice. He went in having some soreness. This is the recommendation. I believe that they're being cautious. I have no reason to believe otherwise. And he's going to be out there in week 1. Chargers are going to put a whooping on the Raiders.
You know what? Yeah, we're going to win by 50. You know what, Tony? Never mind. Let's just feed into it. Justin Herbert's injured. Everyone, let him fall into the 12th round now. Come on. 12th round he goes.
He's already in the 12th, 13th round.
He's already fallen in fantasy drafts like crazy.
Like, I've been doing mock drafts on Fantasy Pros, and I can get like Brock Purdy and Herbert in rounds like 12 and 13, 14. It's perfect. Punctured lung. That's brutal. That was
new staff. That guy's fired. He's out of
here. Okay. Let's Hall of Fame game. I was gonna talk about it. Let's not talk about it.
I'll just say this. I'm glad they ended it. Like, a lot of people are upset going, why? Oh, they should have waited and then started the game when the weather was better. No, I'm glad. Call the game. It's a meaningless game.
Yeah. There's more potential for injuries. You want to keep those guys. And it is the extra preseason game, too, for these guys. It wasn't like the final week where some of these guys had a chance, bubble, roster cut situation. Then you'd kind of feel bad for some of those guys who were maybe needed that extra quarter to make that play that was going to change their lives. From that game, the wide receiver from the Bears, Colin Johnson, he's been in the league now 4 years, 6'6". Like, he was out there making plays. I think it's a nice end of the roster, because I went and looked this up today. He plays special teams. Had a bunch of special team snaps for the Jaguars and the Giants. It was on the Bears roster last year. I don't know why he didn't play. They clearly could have used wide receiver play last year. Wasn't that like one of the things we all talked about in the year before they traded for Chase Claypool? I don't know. I was definitely interested in that. And I think that's going to be one of the stories. Week 1, Hard Knocks, August 6th. I cannot wait to watch, because we're getting back-to-back great quarterback conversations for the show. Aaron Rodgers last year, Caleb Williams coming in, very polarizing figures to be at the forefront of Hard Knocks. I think Hard Knocks for the Bears is going to be exciting, and I got to try to manage my expectations and not have them, winning the NFC North. That's all I got to do.
His length,
and I think Brett Ripon and Case Keenum put on a show in case somebody's looking for quarterbacks in the offseason later on. Two veteran guys I thought did all right.
Ripon tore it up.
Just in case.
Anything? Nothing.
Well, I was gonna say that Collins kid reminded me a lot, especially when we ran that corner route in the end zone for the touchdown, the second touchdown. Looked a lot like Malcolm Floyd out there. A little Keenan Allen Malcolm Floyd reunion, but it's Malcolm Floyd's little cousin or something.
Well, he was doing a good job. He high pointed a couple of those balls. One of the catches got taken away. And here's the thing, Joe sent a joking message about it kind of being watching the UFL league or whatever. And I thought that it was going to be sort of mediocre play. I thought the play was actually really high level when I watched the condensed version of it, so maybe it's more entertaining when you're just watching a 30-minute chunk instead of sitting there in between every play and watching it. But I watched the condensed version, and I was like, oh, shit, because I didn't know they canceled the game, and it just ended, and I was like, hey, keep going. I wanted to watch more football, but I understand why they did it, and I agree with why they did it. But I think all the quarterbacks out there played pretty well, maybe except for Tyson Bagent. And receivers made plays. It was really watching CJ Stroud get psyched for Cam Akers, making that reception on kind of the screwed up play in the backfield there, but gets a gain of 13. It's fun to see that excitement in that enthusiasm, because that's the same thing we do. When these guys do it, Like, we're jumping up and going crazy, and you get to see CJ essentially in fan mode at this point, not even in uniform, and he's just hyping up his guys. I love that shit.
When I saw Cam Akers on the field, I was like, one, what the hell is he doing out there in a meaningless preseason game? But it's also, two, I was glad to see him back on the field after everything that he's been through with the injuries, and finally seeing him out there. And then another thing I was surprised is Herbert really the third string running back for the Bears? Like,
Joe, I was like, what is happening right now? Like, how is this guy like? There's a couple positions like that.
Send in the trade. We need more running backs anyway. Send in the trade.
It is what it is, and I just saw that and I was like, Khalil Herbert's the number 3 running back for this team right now.
I was just gonna say, after his first carry, I was like, we don't need to see any more. Way to go. You made the team, buddy. You're on the squad.
I was about to say, like, I don't think he even needs to be out there, even if he is the third running back at the start of the season. And I was gonna say, for the Cam Akers thing, I was pumped to see that as well too, Joe. That first touchdown of the season was scored by Cam Akers this year. And also it just makes you reflect, like, holy shit, the Texans are really good. Like, this offense is stacked, and they're gonna eventually need Akers late in the season, probably at some point, to produce. And he looked good. He looked solid. So that's something that was exciting. One more thing on the Hall of Fame game, because we're running our time up here, guys, and I do want to talk about this list, is the kickoff. I know nothing exciting really happened on the kickoff. They had to return them. There weren't touchbacks. But did it bother you the way it looked? Did you like it? What did you guys think about it? What was the thoughts?
I'll go first. I was all in. I love it because we're getting to see extra plays, extra opportunities for points, and it didn't look like anybody really got hit that hard. I was watching an interview with a player, I think it was Julian Edelman. He was on the Herd this week or whatever, and he was saying that turf is kind of crap. So you did see a couple of guys try to make some hard plant cutbacks to maybe catch a seam, and they slipped. So I think next weekend when we get into it, and they're playing on better turf than what's at the field in Canton, maybe we'll get to see a little bit of fireworks. I think we're also going to get to see both of these kickers also just kind of did more of a hang time kick. I'm kind of interested to see if they start doing more like almost sort of squibbish style, like trying to mess with the returners where it's like they have to catch a bouncing ball and time it up that way. So I'm all for it. Like, I like the play.
I liked it too, and it was funny because I told my wife the same thing while we were watching the game, Tony, that somebody slipped on one of the kickoff returns, and she's like, "What happened?" I go, "That field's shitty. Like that field is never ever good." She was like, "Oh, okay," and I was like, "But we don't have the actual kick returners back there. We have guys fighting for their jobs on there. So when we actually get the real team, the real special teams out there, and they're actually running these certain plays." It looks like they said, it looks like a running play. So we're going to see a lot of different designs and ways to do it. But I think we're going to see more kickoff returns this year, like for touchdowns, than we have in a while. Like more exciting plays.
Yeah. Tony was even going a step further. Like, what if someone hacks it so well that they start to set some crazy records for returns? Because it's not that hard to break all-time record for return. It's just not really like a stat that's built up that high. We got like Devin Hester's numbers and a few other guys that you even have to try and reach. It's not like some of these other positions. I also noticed like the strategy on it was very simple. I wonder how the scale is going to be of them trying stuff out in the preseason versus, trying not to expose anything in the preseason. But there's going to be some polling. There's going to be some tricks to this where they bring guys from one side to come over to this side. And I am interested to see how the defenses adjust to that. Because when you start to get guys going north and south and they're colliding head on, there's a lot of risk for injury there, but the real danger and what I fear with this format, and I saw it a lot in the UFL and XFL, when they start to pull these guys across the line, you've got defenders who beat their man-on-man coverage, but there's someone coming full speed across the field to fucking destroy them like a pulling guard. So that's something that we'll see if we start to see some big hits where the returner takes it on the right side and is running lateral all the way to the left, and people are just getting fucking blindsided, blocked across the entire.
Well, they have two returners back there now, right?
And they can end around too.
Yeah. So I think there's going to be some of that stuff. There's going to be some trickery there, but they've taken a lot of the crackbacks and blindside hits and everything. Like we even saw in the preseason last year where there was like a running play the Jets scored on, and Randall Cobb got flagged for an excessive crackback block on a wide receiver. Like he hit him where he wasn't shoulders weren't fully turned and opened up where he could see Randall Cobb coming. So they're pretty good about flagging that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's exciting to me.
We saw where it was just like they were just man-on-man blocking pretty much. You got this guy, you got this guy, you got that guy. It seemed way safer than kickoff. Way safer.
Yeah.
There's only one line that you got to beat. You beat, and you're gone. Like when you're an actual running back, you got to get through the D line, you got to get to the linebackers, you got to get to the safeties. On this kickoff return, you're just breaking one. Once you break it, you're gone. There's no good luck. Good luck.
Well, that was something that I think the Chiefs were talking about, potentially using a safety at kicker so they have an extra tackler on the field in case for an emergency.
Yeah, but there's also there's blocking schemes that tackling schemes they're going to use where it's almost like if the return's coming to the right, the people from the left aren't chasing this way. They're coming back around and filling in like linebackers where they're now all of a sudden it's almost like they have kind of on the fly gap assignments, which is a little bit tougher. You're going to have some errors in that, and that's when we're going to see the home runs. And Mike, like I was saying, somebody breaks some records, does some crazy things this year in the kick return game, and maybe they end up on the top 100 list. The top 10 were revealed. We're going to talk about them right now. It's funny because everybody thought the foregone conclusion was, and I agree, should be Patrick Mahomes should have been at the top of the list. Now, if there was going to be a player that wasn't there, I would have argued for two people, Tyreek Hill or Christian McCaffrey. Tyreek Hill came in at number 1, so I'm good with that. The first thing that I want to ask you guys about is when you guys saw this, Lamar Jackson ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Mike, are you good with this? Do you understand it? What do you think about this?
No, I'm not good with it. I mean, it just when you do stuff like this, unanimously kind of accepted football facts that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback, first of all, and best player in the league, and you just try and it's a new year, so we just want to give someone else the number 1. You kind of illegitimize the entire list. And that's how I feel about it. It's like these players pick these things based off of who their friends are, who won the award last year. We want to kind of get this trophy to someone else, playing politics, playing this. Like Justin Herbert at 75 and Brock Purdy at 25 just makes me want to jump off a bridge. So it's just it illegitimizes the whole list when we're just kind of playing favorites and kind of just spitballing this thing. Maybe we should just change this to this is the top 100, right? This is the top 100, but we're only going to reveal 50 to 100. So these are the top 100 players, but they're not in order. And then the next group is this is the top 50. These guys are all in the top 50, but they didn't make it. And then top 25, but it's not in order because putting it in order, some of this makes no fucking sense. We have Sean Gary in the top 50, and he has 0 10-sack seasons in his career. I think he's a phenomenal player, but he's in the top 50, and Aaron Rodgers is 92nd.
So it's a player-driven list, and Joe, I'm going to let you go right after this. Chris Long said today they used to bring this list to him right before he had a team meeting. He still have to shower and get dressed, and they'd be like, "Hey, Chris, can we get 10 minutes for you to fill it?" And he'd be like, "Absolutely not. Get that out of my face." And then he would be he'd see guys eating lunch or whatever, and they would be super into it and filling out, or if he did have time, he'd fill out the top 10, and then they'd be like, "Oh, that's great. I'll take it from you and I'll fill out the rest." Assistants around the building. So it's an accumulation of people who get voted onto the top 25 of these lists, and then they get votes and the points awarded and slotted in at spots. Go ahead, Joe.
Mike, the fact that Aaron Rodgers even made the list and he played 4 plays last year is ridiculous.
But this isn't supposed to be the top 20, because think about this, Joe.
It's the top 100 players of last year.
Okay, where would you rank Kirk Cousins on this list?
Nowhere. Okay, so here's what I found out. Here's what I found out about this list.
15 spots above Rodgers.
This is what I found out about this list is that the players vote on it, and they vote on it right around Thanksgiving. So it's in the middle of the season. And if you go back this list and you look at this list and you look at the players around that time, this list is 100%. to where it was. Tyreek Hill was dominating the league around Thanksgiving. Patrick Mahomes struggled at the beginning of the season, didn't pick it up till the end of the year. Christian McCaffrey was on his thing. So if you look at what's going on, this is right around there, and it doesn't matter. Like to me, like you can come up with your top 10. Like, do you think the top 10 players are correct? Yes, it's a pretty good 1 through 10. It's good. Now the ranking of it is probably not there. Like everybody's going to have their difference, but we've always talked about when you have a top 10 list, as long as you have the top 10 players that everybody can more than likely agree on, it doesn't matter what order you put them in.
I don't agree with the top 10 here because Justin Jefferson is outside the top 15. And that's my whole point, is that we have to clarify, is this the top 100 players of last season? Because then Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be on the list, and then they're wrong for even putting him on the list. Or is this the top players as of now or as of when they took this quiz? Then Aaron Rodgers should be way the fuck up on this list. So both ways, whatever way they identify this as, is wrong. Like for example, the safeties on here make absolutely no – like who's the best safety in the league right now? Even if it's not Derwin James, who is it?
It's probably Hamilton,
Jesse Bates, one of those guys. Yeah. Well, Antoine Winfield Jr. is the highest rated safety on this, which isn't too crazy. But you know who's second above all the other safeties in the league? Jordan Poyer is in the top 80. In the same range of players like Justin Herbert.
So here's the thing.
Brock Purdy's number 28.
He's at 65. Jordan Poyer is at 65 as a 33-year-old safety who can hardly play anymore. He's not even a starter. You think he's starting over Javon Holland in Miami? He's not a starter.
I don't think so. Javon Holland is a good player though. Like I really think Javon Holland is gonna break out.
He's not on the hundreds. He's on.
Yeah, from what I understand, they do it by the year. So this is of last season. Like
how
the year,
that Jordan Poyer is
overall who's the best player.
Any point in his entire career has Jordan Poyer ever been in the top 65? Let alone now or at Thanksgiving last year.
I think maybe I could have made a case for him in like 2021. I think it was. I would say that this list is achieving its goal, Mike, because you are taking your hat off and running your fingers through your illustrious hair. Like they're getting a rise out of fans. They're getting engagement from all of this stuff. I too look at it and I go, if you're going to have a list of the top 100 players, Patrick Mahomes just needs to be number one. And then it's the only, you get the sheet to fill it out. And Patrick Mahomes is number one. And then you can fill in whoever you want. It's unerasable. You can't color over it. It's just locked in there at number one.
Like the next 10 years, no matter what he does.
So can we call, let's call this list what it is. It's a attention grabber. They vote last year. They bring it out during preseason to get your attention, get people talking about football. And this list right here, I can 100% tell you was altered. 100% this list is bullshit, and it's not what the players voted on because there's one person that I can't find. Maybe I'm wrong. But there's one person who played last year who retired in the offseason that should be around the top 10, and he's not in there.
Yeah, so that's the thing, too. That they said this a few years ago that players who retired would not be included on the list. Which is weird because it is the list. I'm just saying because there was something about this a few years ago when the list came out. Like Brady retired, and then when Brady announced that he was coming back, they made edits to the top 100 list or something. There was something fishy like that going on. But yeah. I mean, again, Aaron Donald should have just been marked in at number 4. So it's almost like when you get one of those puzzles like a Sudoku, and it's like the 1 is here and the 7's here. It should have been Pat Mahomes here, and then down on line 5 or 6, Aaron Donald, and it's like you can't erase either one of these names. This is just the sheet.
So Zaire Franklin is number 100. So basically, we're going to give you 100 because you're not really the top 100, but since we can't count Aaron Donald, here we go.
I think they should do it differently completely. I think what they should do is like I said, either do it without the numbers, without the actual ranking somehow, or if we are going to keep asking the players, let's ask each player for their position only to rank the top guys at their position, and then we will have experts that put this thing together where it makes some fucking sense.
Yeah, but that's what they want to take out because they want it to be a completely player-driven list. And my thing is like
the list participants, but then the order is put into a order where it's like this guy won 3 Super Bowls and 3 MVPs in 4 years. He probably is number 1.
So here's the thing that I didn't want to talk conspiracies, but I'm going to. I believe that there are agents out here who might have 5 or 6 players that are sort of practice squad roster guy, like roster bubble guys, but they also have a big time client and they say, hey, I have another client. I need you to vote this guy higher and higher on your top 25 list because this comes with a little bit of notoriety, right? It's like, it's a big deal to be on this list from like a social media standpoint. You get a lot of publicity, you get time, you get air time on NFL Network, you get other guys that are talking about your player and his team. These things go into like contract negotiations. Like, hey, you want to bring this guy in? He sells jerseys. People really like him. They really respect him. Like, look at what he is around the league, the way he's viewed. And I do think there might be a little bit of that, like agents sort of fluffing some spots for players that might be on their roster.
Did you see the news? The player on number 1 on the list just got paid like $100 million. What a coincidence.
Yeah, well, Drew Rosenhaus is probably
if this list really means something, if this list is really legit and actually means like these are the best players, right? That these guys should be on the field all the time. Why isn't Justin Simmons signed it? He's number 57. Why doesn't he have a contract yet? What team wants him? He's a top 60 player in this league, but the guy can't get on the field right now. Can't find a team to pay him.
Well, because he also
probably got him there, Joe. They've got him rated above like every safety except for one.
Yeah,
I think Budda Baker's in there somewhere too, isn't he, Mike? I didn't look, but I think Budda Baker is
right in the same range as Derwin. But Kyle Hamilton and Javon Holland's ratings on this, just throw them out. Like, just pretend like it didn't happen. I guess just pretend like these guys don't exist is basically what the players did. Like I said, like the whole list to me is illegitimized, and I'm just gonna look at it as a content piece for the rest of my life.
I do want to. This is the last thing I want to talk about the list, and let's skew it a little positive because I do think it's an honor. These are your peers, and like some of these votes are good, and it's good to be recognized by your peers. Like, what if there was like a podcast or like a influencer list, and everybody was like, "Hey, Mike is the number 3 influencer on whatever." Wouldn't you be like, "Oh, this is a pretty cool honor to get this, especially to be in the top 10?" Like Chris Jones was celebrating to being in the top 10. Max Crosby at number 10. Joe, you're going to go last on this one. Maybe Mike has some positive things to say about this. I was really happy about this because the other night I went to a birthday party. I was hanging out with my brother, and we were talking about it was like a John Stamos moment from Step Brothers. And we were like, who's the most underrated player in the league? And at the same time, we both went Max Crosby. Because whenever you watch a Raiders game, and for me, it's only against the Chargers and whenever they're on primetime, every single time I watch the Raiders, Max Crosby is one of the biggest problems on the defensive side of the football. For me, he's in the same breath as the guys like Micah Parsons, like Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, and we just don't talk about Max Crosby on the same level. And I think that this was a good acknowledgement that more fans across the league, because the Raiders, they haven't been good. They haven't been good for several decades, maybe 1 year. Bisaccia got the boys fired up, went on a little run. But other than that, not good. But Max Crosby deserves a little bit of shine, and I was happy to see this because the guy works super hard. And if you watch any Raiders game, he is definitely jumping out as like, holy shit, who is that guy? Like, that is incredible what's happening right now. Mike, go.
I wouldn't say I'm happy to see him ranked in the top 10. Happy is a very, 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 very strong word, but I'm with you. I feel like this is a year late. Like, even with the Madden ratings last year, I think I made a video about it, how they shafted Crosby. They had him like 82 or not 82, like 85. It was like he was a good player in the game, but he wasn't one of the top edge rushers in the game. I think he was just inside the top 10. And I bet Crosby was ranked way down the 2023 list compared to top 10 here. But I'm with you. And just to add on to everything that you said, Tony, it's more than just what he does for the pass rush. There's plenty of great pass rushers in the league. There's plenty of guys that are just purely going to go get the quarterback. Your Hassan Reddicks, your fill in the blank name. But what really takes Crosby to the next level, and the guys like T.J. Watt, the guys like Myles Garrett, is what he does in the run game. You can't run it to Max Crosby's side. You just can't. If you don't have Trent Williams at left tackle, you can't run it to the left side if he lines up on the left side, or otherwise it's going to get shut down. And then the motor on that guy, like it's impossible to find people with a motor that high. There's very, very, very few handful of players that are playing as hard on the last play as the first play. But Joe, go ahead. It is earned his top 10 spot at his position too, one of the more important positions on the team. And what he does for the Raiders is kind of immeasurable.
Yeah, and to be able to be up there, I mean, you got to remember Max Crosby was taken in the same draft as Nick Bosa, so he was already up there as has somebody to compete with, and the motor on this guy, and to come out here and do what he does every year, and he already gets the hate on him because of the team that he plays on, so they're already going to lower him and stuff. So I bet you making this list, it was hard enough for the people to be like, all right, let's put a Raider in the top 10, even though he has it coming. And to be honest with you, he should have been at least at the very least second in defensive player of the year last year when it went to Myles Garrett. There's no way Myles Garrett should have even had that. And like you said about Madden, Mike, finally Madden, I still think I think he should have been in the 99 club. They didn't give him that. They gave him a 97 rating this year on Madden, but at least they put him as the top left defensive end. And you think Max Crosby was good last year? He's on a mission. Like, if you listen to anything that he said this offseason, he's done nothing but train for 6 months to get himself. He had 2 surgeries this offseason right after the season. He played hurt last year and made top 10 and was number 10. Like, he had his knee. Remember, his knee swelled up, and then he had his arm.
Yeah.
He broke his arm. So he played hurt, and now the Raiders got him help on the defensive line and put Christian Wilkins right next to him. Oh, Max Crosby, if you thought he was good last year, wait till he's in the top 5 next year.
Yeah, and like I said, I can be happy for players individually outside a team, right? And this is another one of those situations where it's like and I'm guilty of it too. A lot of times when we talk about certain players, we leave out other guys that are deserving to be in that same conversation that we are excited to watch play. Like, we know we're going to see something special. And to me, that's why I watch football. Like, it's not like I just watch the Chargers. I probably watch 215 football games a year, because I go back and watch on NFL Network. I'll watch the versions of these because I want a closer look at how some of these players that I've been excited about or whatever, like in the draft, I've talked about this player and it's like, oh, I look at the box score. They had a good game or a bad game. Let's go see how that worked out for them. We're going to skip Dak. We're going to skip Purdy. I want to talk.
Wait, Joe or Tony. Sorry. Just one more thing. Just since we're talking about Ed. I know we said that was just one more thing. Also, Joe, 99 overall might be a bit far. I like 97 or 98. If you have a 20 sack season or at least close to it, like 15 plus, I'm in for 99 overall.
Have a healthy 99.
Okay, I don't think he should be a 99. I don't know.
No.
I think that if any tight end's 99, it's Kittle. And again, that's another guy I put like 98. You know what I mean? Like right there, not quite in that club. That's like Mahomes, Hill, like your very few players. But I wanted to ask about Nick Bosa at 28 with Crosby at 10. I don't even think Joe would vouch for that.
I don't like the whole, like you said something about the whole list. Like Devontae Adams is at 40, Mike. Come on. Like, this whole list is screwed up.
Don't you think that, like, Nick Bosa and Max Crosby are often debated, right? Like, shouldn't they be close to each other?
No, Nick Bosa is not a Max Crosby level.
If Crosby's 10, Bosa should be like 12.
No.
I don't know.
I
I have Nick and Max both in that same really close margin. I'm a bigger fan of Myles Garrett than Joe is.
Miles was 99, I think. I think he made it.
I know what Joe said. Myles shouldn't get the MVP, the defensive MVP, and I was good with that. I just think the Browns defense did some incredible things, and I think it runs through him, so I was good with that. I mean, they were winning games with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, so, and it was a defensive-led team a lot of weeks.
Yeah, the defense was led, cool, the whole defense, but when you actually look at the stats, you can't be like, oh, Myles Garrett beat out T.J. Watt or.
I think T.J. Watt's number one. T.J. Watt's my favorite.
Khalil Mack's my favorite, and he was in the top 30. Oh man, I can't. You know what's going to be great when Crosby gets traded to the Packers for a couple of years, and then finish his career, Hall of Fame career with the Chargers, just like Khalil Mack. Can't wait for that.
Exactly the same too, like where he comes for like the last 5 years, just enough time to retire as a Charger and not a Raider instead.
Yep, go in the Hall of Fame. Although Max feels very, very dedicated to being a Raider. That's where I
evil
really
Joey Bosa, Tony. That's the evil Joey Bosa.
Well, okay, we're going to Guardian Caps. Final 5 minutes or so here. The Chargers seem to be the team leading the league in celebrating the Guardian Cap. I'm seeing a lot of they're wearing the sleeve. If they wear the Guardian Cap, they're wearing the sleeve, that the game ready sleeve, into practice. Now that's also a Harbaugh thing where Harbaugh is like, hey, we practice how we play. We're in full uniform for practice. But the Guardian Cap, it's one of those things where from an aesthetic standpoint, people have trouble getting over stuff. Do you remember when the helmets started to change, Joe, when we were younger? And people would be like, oh, look at this. That helmet's ugly or whatever it is. I'm big on aesthetics. Like, I like the way things look. I like to look nice when I go out or whatever. But for some reason, football helmets never bothered me because in my mind, it's like, what's the safest way for these people to get into car crashes every week? And if you're telling me that the helmet's a little funny shaped or whatever, I don't really look at it that much. Like, I'm not staring at the helmet. I'm watching the play. I'm watching, how somebody's, like a DN, like his hips can flip and he can get skinny and get through a hole. I'm not looking at like, oh man, guy's got a funny helmet on. It's just weird as like, Joe, where are you at? Guardian Cap? Would you wear it? Do you like it? Does it ruin the game a little bit for you? Like,
yeah, I kind of got used to it watching like flag football because the kids wear it, playing flag football now. So it was like, And then when you saw the NFL players first wear it, it looked ugly. But when I sent you that picture of the Chargers' first camp and somebody had it, and you actually see the logo and the number, then it kind of made it like, okay, at least they're covering up the ugly bumps and stuff like that. So at least it's not too bad. You still see the helmet. It still has the logo. So I'm good with it. I don't know how many people would actually rock it in the NFL. Like some people, like right now, Pride would get over it because I know there's like some teams have come out and said if anybody wears that on the field, we're gonna make fun of them or something like that. But it's only gonna take 1 to 2 players to start doing it, and then everybody else is gonna just follow along with it.
Wait, who's gonna make fun of them?
Yeah, that's so stupid.
Some of the players have said that like nobody's gonna wear that on our team.
Oh,
I think personally, in one season, after this one season, more than 50% of players will wear it by the end, or at least for week 1 of next year.
I'm in 100% agreement with you, Mike.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I can see why people were bothered by the aesthetics when they first announced it, thinking of the ones that we're used to seeing out there. But seeing the Chargers with the helmet decal, it doesn't bother me at all. It just looks like a little bit bigger of a helmet that these guys are wearing. I actually like the way those big helmets look more than I like the way those little bug ones look. That you saw, remember that one that Zeke used to wear, where you almost like it looked like a biker helmet? Like those ones almost seemed like less safe, even though they were supposed to be, the modern safest ones. So they can make like the helmet smaller and the padding bigger, and it'll still balance out to be a similar size helmet. Let's do it. Let's concussions, please. I want to see my star safety, who wears number 3 and likes to hit people harder. That's what also bothers me about when this news broke. Everyone was freaking out like, oh, the NFL is going soft. Like, guys, this is going to help us keep hitting in the game.
Yeah, I think it has a chance to help us keep the players that we really want to watch on the field. Like that to me is the most important thing. It's the whole thing with like, yes, I'm from the generation where quarterbacks used to have to protect their knees, protect their heads, like try not to get landed on so their collarbones didn't shatter in half. But yeah, there's something great about when quarterbacks are healthy and on the field. Like, so much of the conversation last year was like, oh, I can't even watch these Thursday night games. We got to watch backup core. We got to watch Jake Browning versus, Gardner Minshew. It's like, okay, yeah. Like, wouldn't it have been better if we would have had Anthony Richardson and Joe Burrow in that game? Like, whatever we got to do to keep these guys on the field, that's what I'm in for. Especially
if people don't know what we're talking about. If you don't know what we're talking about, here it is.
That's it right there. Yeah,
this is it right here. See, it doesn't look that bad when you have the cap over it, like you said.
It doesn't look that bad too, because that's a Michigan man.
But I mean, this right here, like Mike said, it just looks like a bigger helmet, and that's a bit like this. You don't. I don't think you would notice it unless you're actually looking for it.
No big deal at all. And if it actually works, that would be beautiful, man. Because concussions are such an annoying injury. It's something that, like, even like a week afterwards, you can feel completely fine, but you're not cleared to go yet. You have to wait it out. You have to let your brain heal. It's also a dangerous injury. Suffer multiple, like we saw Tua suffer a couple years ago in a season. It can get really scary, really, 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 really quick. And it's like you're saying, Tony, like, it's 1 week out almost automatically. So like all the Thursday night games are losing the quarterbacks because you cannot play 3 days after a concussion, even a minor one.
2 years ago, we gave Kyler Murray shit because they wrote a study clause in his contract. When they signed Tua to this deal, guardian cap would have been non-negotiable in that. It would have been double guardian cap. We just gave you $50-something million or whatever, $150 million guaranteed. You need to double wrap it, bro.
So does the team logo make it different? Look.
It looks good still. The Washington one is cool. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I see what Joe's getting at here. It's a little different. The W doesn't quite sit as well as the bolt does, right? But again, it doesn't bother me at all. Like, I'm not bothered by it.
They need to make the
W. It just looks like that W should be back a little bit more. Maybe that's it.
They need to make it bigger. Yeah. I think it's bigger on the actual helmet too. I'm not sure for certain. But yeah, unless you're Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes gets concussion, he gets cleared somehow. I don't know how the fuck he does it.
But I mean,
didn't they teach Tua how to fall? Like, didn't they have him take a jiu-jitsu or something so he could learn how to get?
That was last year. That was last year. He played the whole season.
Yeah, but the caps are better than this.
Yes,
like this right here reminds me of like when I was on my way to school in the bus and stuff like this.
Yeah, that's exactly like it. They don't want people. Well, the people don't want these, but I think with the covers, it works.
Yeah, I'm all for it. And I think more and more players are going to wear it. I think offensive linemen would be foolish not to be having these on because they are the ones that are smashing their head every single rep.
Offensive and defensive linemen, I would be wearing these all the time because in the trenches, like, I mean, even just like at a lower level, even like playing high school level or kid like Jack, like I don't know what they call them, like little league kids. Like you're this is it right here. You're head on head all the time.
So it feels like maybe the only position that might think about saying not is maybe like receiver or DB, like because they're trying to stay light, trying to keep everything light, not trying to have that extra weight. But how much do they actually freaking weigh? And also, if you're a receiver, go watch some Brendan Cook's big hits. Somehow he's always running into them. Go watch Emmanuel Sanders getting hit. I don't know why. But Emmanuel Sanders would find Kareem Jackson and ask him to hit him before he was a Bronco, too. As a Steeler, Emmanuel Sanders is running into big hits.
How California hasn't already mandated this for high school football? Like, everybody has to do it? I don't know. Because California usually is ahead of everything else. So
that's also makes so much sense, Joe, for kids, like where your brain's developing still. Like the injuries are magnified a ton more. You're right. They should make it mandatory for these helmets in high school.
When I first started watching hockey back in like the late 80s, there were guys that were grandfathered in where they didn't have to wear helmets. Like you didn't even have to, like there'd be guys on the ice out there skating. And I was like, I remember there was a defenseman for the Red Wings named Brad Marsh, an old guy, and he was grandfathered in on the old rules that he didn't have to wear a helmet. And it was always like, getting bumped in the head or a cut here or whatever. And then you started seeing guys with like the half shields and whatever. Like playing hockey without a helmet was always scary. Like when I'd be outside on like the frozen rink, the pond or whatever, like sticks would be coming up, scratching the face.
The ice.
Yeah. If you want to make it normalized, like if you want, like us, Tony, like we're gonna look at it and we're gonna be like, oh, what's that? But if you want to make it normalized, you start with the kids, you have them wear it, and then as they grow up, they're like, oh yeah, we wore those when we were kids all the time. It's gonna be fun.
In hockey too, everyone has 2 knives on their feet that could possibly come up into the air if someone gets knocked on their head. Like
Happy Gilmore is the only guy to ever take off his skate and try to stab somebody with it. All right.
Hey.
I saw someone recently get like their throat sliced in a hockey game by a skate.
Oh yeah, that was across the. Yeah, that guy. They got him for that guy, right?
Yeah,
he died. Huh?
When I was young, they instituted a rule at a certain point you had to wear neck guards because there was a big incident in I think it was like Minnesota. So all those parts, Michigan, Wisconsin, whatever, everybody agreed that kids under the age of 13 had to wear these like uncomfortable neck guards. Enough old hockey stories.
Hans used to cut his finger on it all the time. Remember that, Tony?
Was it?
Old hockey also, I think that's
when he used to sharpen the skates, he would cut his finger on it.
Stop it. Mike doesn't know
what I'm talking about. Mighty Ducks.
I don't want to know anything about that. I just think it's funny how back in the day, Tony, when you guys were growing up, people took that so seriously. Like, oh, we got to grandfather the old people in because they're not going to be able to just like strap helmets onto their head. It's like, oh, we're going to grandfather this part of society in. Like, they don't have to worry about the DUI laws. Like, the DUI laws came out in 1960, so anyone before that can drink and drive. Anyone before that,
like they used to put
that's not a thing. That's not a real thing. That didn't happen. But also in your era, Aaron Rodgers fought the NFL because he didn't want to switch to the new helmet, and his helmet the technology was supposed to be outdated, and he was arguing because they weren't making the style of helmet he liked, and he went through a whole thing. And Antonio Brown did something similar.
I was gonna say, as a Raider fan, Antonio Brown did the same shit.
Yeah. So don't pretend like this shit doesn't happen in your generation too.
Did Rodgers win it?
He won MVP in that ugly helmet.
Oh, okay. I was about to say I was saying, does Rodgers get the access to wear the helmet? Like, did he get grandfathered in?
No, he had to switch. He had to switch helmets the next year. He had like the final year of whatever he was wearing.
Antonio Brown was very adamant about these helmets, like to a point that he almost quit playing football, and they didn't give in. So they gave in.
Actually, he did quit playing football. So
yeah, he did. Not that.
It was like at that point, it was like
in the most glorious fashion too. Like if you are going to retire from the game, there is nothing better than just taking your uniform off midway through and just waving to the fans like it's been real, everybody. But your boy has to go.
That is going to be the most controversial Hall of Fame debate in 5 years, guys. I'm ready for it.
Oh, there's no controversy at all. He is not getting into the Hall of Fame.
He should. He
should. He 100% should. I cannot imagine the NFL is like, let's welcome Antonio Brown into the Football Hall of Fame.
He's still going to be young enough to be doing all these antics by then, too.
They did their best to keep Terrell Owens out. And Terrell Owens is like a nice guy.
Yeah. Maybe the third best receiver we've ever seen, and they were keeping him out.
There we go. That's going to wrap it up. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Friday. It's really Saturday. We appreciate you. Hope that you're having a great weekend. The weekend continues. Football's back. Hall of Fame ceremonies. Congratulations to all those guys in there. Andre Johnson, one of my favorite forgotten great wide receivers in the NFL. Yeah. Awesome. Great show, guys. Appreciate you. If you're new, please consider subscribing. We're 3 friends who love to talk football. We're always looking for a 4th, so consider hitting the subscribe button there. Go on to the internet and say something nice about a training camp video. Just be like, hey, great effort. You'll get them next time, big guy. Just a real nice, simple, maybe some platitudes. Google something.
Right.
Say something nice.
I have a video in the works right now that's being edited about the NFL Top 100 list. Do not watch it. Do not watch it.
No, I won't.
It's not
I do not want to. Anything from you, Joe? Anything you got to say to the people before I hit end stream?
SummerSlam tonight. Check it out because either The Rock or Roman Reigns might return, baby.
And Joe told me before the show started that he feels like Antonio Gates should have got that spot instead of Andre Johnson.
Wow. Whoa. Ending with some heat at the end of the show.